What up, in this John, your boy Ibskelso, coming back with another MX Bikes banger. And before you adjust your phone brightness or change your monitor settings, yes, I am Blacker and playing a dirt bike game. And today, I have 2,500 hours in this dirt bike game. So you basically can say I'm the best player to ever play the game. No, I'm just playing. Let me stop before the haters come in. But with that being said, I do have some tips and tricks for you guys, kind of just to help you through Supercross. And this will correlate over to motocross the more you kind of understand it. But a lot of you guys ask, why can't I scrub as hard as a pro when they're literally going Mach 10, right? Think about their corner speed, think about their corner entry, their momentum, their throttle control, and knowing when they're sitting and standing. If you ever watch anybody play this game, you can literally see their sit and stand icon literally move up and down over and over and over again. It is literally a technique that helps you completely grease and or get as clean as possible through these jumps. Now, I will show you that I want you to get the height first in Supercross before you think about scrubbing. Because scrubbing comes with a lot of momentum and carrying it through these big jumps, right? And the real thing is, if you're not carrying that much speed, you can't really scrub into a section. So you've got to think about getting the height into the section, then scrubbing the rest of it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show that off, and I want to explain this rider icon right here in the corner. This is when I'm standing, when you see it, and when it disappears, that's when I'm sitting down. I do have my analog sticks or my controller overlay, so every time I press my right stick right here, that's when I'm sitting or standing. And I just kind of want to go over it. And I want to explain as well at this point, when you're sitting down before the face of the jump, you're basically compressing your suspension. And then when you stand up, you're releasing that compression, right? So you're going to be able to get more height in the air. And I'll show you what that means. This is something that I want you to practice and or understand. And you're going to be like, wow, this is insane. And I'm going to show you that this really helps you to be able to hit a quad to another quad or any big jump over and over and over again. And we're here at DDC round 5 Minneapolis. I'm going to show you that you can literally do it every time as long as you have the speed. So sit down, stand up. That is going to give you the extra height. Sit down, stand up every time. And I'm going to go right here, momentum, stand up. And then I'm going to sit down this whole time and then stand back up. Able to clear every time. Now, I scrubbed the second time because I literally was probably skyrocketing to almost go for a 5-man. So simple things like that will help you tremendously. And you should just practice working on getting height, especially if you're just trying to get into Supercross. I can definitely show you corner speed as well. The biggest thing is a lot of you guys come here on your corners and cut down a lot, like right here, and then try to make a jump and encase. Carry your speed, man. Like, especially through if you're gonna go for a triple, right? Carry your speed around this whole corner, go about half throttle and then full throttle, and then stand up, and you will get the pop. Now, I will show you how to scrub as well. Scrubbing is basically standing up before the face of the jump and then sitting down. So right here and then sit down. That's scrubbing in this video. Sit down right there. That is scrubbing, just keeping you a little bit lower. Now, this right here, a lot of you guys be like, oh, so I can just scrub this if I keep my speed through the corner. Yes and no. I'm not going to recommend it. You can try it, and I'm not going to try it for you because I know exactly it's not going to work. But coming through this corner is about corner speed and knowing when to sit and stand. So I'm standing this whole time and then sit down and carry my speed, and then I stand back up. I don't know how to explain that the best way it is, but you want to stand longer and then sit down late. That allows you to just be able to rip it when you go through the corner and allows you to turn tighter. So right here, sit down, carry your speed, and then stand back up. You see how much height I got? Willie that John. Now, I also want to talk about tabletops and explaining the exact same thing of what I'm doing. Now, a lot of you guys say that you can't get the pop off tabletops. If you sit down on the top of the tabletop and then stand up, it allows you to, once again, compress the suspension and then release it. I'll show you if you're trying to go for a table-to-table. Now, you can do it regularly if you're carrying enough momentum and you land in the middle of it. You can just pull up, standing up while you're pulling up, pull up on your right analog stick, and it literally will pull the bike up and then allow you to go. So I'll show you that. I'll show you that real quick, and then I'll show you the other way. So if you go for your triple in here, and then you just stand up and pull the bike up, you can do that every time. Like, you can easily do that. As long as you know what you're doing, you should be able to clear that without having to sit down at all, right? But say like you're having a little sketchy, or you're trying to be a little bit more flowy, trying to get that pop, you can easily come in here, stand up, sit down, and then stand up right there, and allow you to get that pop easy peasy as well. Just in case you're gonna mess up and you're trying to stretch it or get more height and you're going too low, that's right there, just getting the extra jump or the height, right? Just to get the pop. Next thing I want to talk about is Dragon's backs. They're still around. The best way I like to think of it is being able to carry your speed to drive up them and upshifting at least once. Don't want to run out of gear because you never know how big the Dragon's Back is, and also you don't want that tire slip to where you aren't going to be able to get the pop. You want to be at least to get enough grip so it can drive you through. It's almost like the whoop section. We'll go over that here soon. But with that being said, carry your speed through these corners. Corner speed is everything. Sit down and then stand up right here and upshift, and that should be able to get you the good drive all the way. And what you want to do is make sure your front wheel touches each one. Now you can stand up the whole time around this corner and do the exact same thing. But I like to go here. I like to right about here, then stand up. It's, like I said, compresses your suspension and it gives you a little bit more of a pop, and then shift up at least once. Depends on how long it is. You probably upshift twice, but never run out of gear. That's the hardest, that's the worst thing you can do, is just continuously getting that tire slip and screaming the bike. All right, next thing up is corner speed into a triple section or whatever section you're coming around a 180 turn. Biggest thing is corner speed. Now I can show you right now that I can sit down around this whole corner and still get the triple in sitting down. I can show you that I can come around this whole corner and standing up and then completely drive and not have to sit down at all. It's literally just corner speed. It's literally carrying your momentum and also setting yourself up before that. So I'll probably go back a little bit and then show you how I'm setting myself up to try to get myself to wrap around this. With that being said, you can literally sit down this whole time as long as you have the corner speed and drive and give it the beans. I can make this triple in every time, right? No cut downs, nothing like that. You're gonna be able to hit a triple in every time. Round your corners, carry your speed, throttle control right here. Doesn't matter what gear. I could probably even do it in third. Easy. Same thing for standing up. As long it's just, you're not gonna be able to turn as tight, so you gotta be careful with that. But easy peasy, all the way through. Now you're just carrying your speed. Now you're just carrying your speed all the way. So corner speed and throttle control is a big thing. Hopefully that taught you something. All right, we're not gonna come here out of the rhythm section and cut down about right here and try to go for a triple. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen, right? We can't cut down that hard and go. Now we can go about halfway up the hill and then cut down, and we should be able to do it, right? We should be able to go here, cut down about right here, still got that speed, stand up, right? Compress the suspension, stand up right at the end, allow you to get the pop. The biggest thing is about setting yourself up, right? I told you we'd wrap around on this. Set yourself up for the rhythm section, or know where you are within inside of a rhythm section and know what's coming next. We already know at the end of this rhythm section, we're already counting what we have to do, right? We got to go triple over a table and then try to triple out, right? That's the rhythm section. But on top of that, we know here's a 180, so I got to set myself up correctly to be able to keep my corner speed and then go for a triple in. So how do you do that? Well, you don't go for the inside completely and then think at the last second, oh, I'm on the inside, I got to go to the outside and then go for wraparound 180. You're just making more steps for yourself and complicating and or messing your own groove up. So within this rhythm section, stay to the outside more. That way you can be ready to wrap around. So I'm going to show that in this demonstration right here. We're going to go for a triple in, right? As you can see, I'm already veering off to the right because I know that after I triple around, I'm going to want to set myself up so I can corner speed all the way through and hit the triple, right? Now, I will show you right now if I didn't do that and what's going to happen. Now, this line isn't wrong. This is actually a really good alternate line if there's a pile up or a lot of people trying to go for that triple and everybody's getting like crammed up. You can actually go for this line and actually help yourself out. But once again, what I'm trying to explain is if you're going to take all inside, you got to prepare yourself to know that you're not going to go for the 180. You got to cut down and be able to go there, right? Just for instance, you're going to sit here and you're just going to stay all inside instead of taking the outside. So you're going to go triple in, right? Usual, over the table, easy money. And then you're going to go here and then you're like, oh shoot, I can't go wrap around because I'm too far inside. Now you have to go double, cut down, and then triple. Great line, perfect line actually. It actually is a very good alternate line and is a very safe line if you're not trying to go take anybody out or somebody's coming on your outside and maybe get intertwined with you. Next up is whoops. I really want to talk about the whoops and how I get through them. I'm not a firm believer of leaning back and just praying. It's not my forte at all, but sometimes it's just the way it is. You know, and the biggest thing is not running out of gear in the whoops. Now, there's two different methods I like to use. If I'm on a straightaway whoops, so where it's like literally I'm coming over a big jump, which you're going to see, I like to go third gear and upshift to fifth because that right there is probably the perfect drive. Now, if you're coming through like a 180 or something to where you're not going to be able to keep up a lot of speed, maybe a 90 corner, which there is a 90 coming up with whoops, and I'll show you that. Maybe upshift just twice, right? And you don't want to bog going into it. You want to get as much speed to upshift. So around this corner, I'll show you right now, I'm going to go second gear, right, to get the pop over here, upshift to third. And when I upshift to third, stand up, and then double shift up. Now I can start leaning back and all that, but it's a really great drive. Biggest thing is why I say don't run out of gear is because if I was to run through that in second, it's just going to screen the bike, and I'm going to go slower than molasses. On top of that, the bike actually helps you out when you upshift and in a higher gear. Remember I was talking about suspension actually helps you when you're in a higher gear. Now I could show you right now, if we go through second gear, I'd probably still be able to make it just because I know my technique, right? And I'll show you my technique as well. But if I just sat here in second gear, I start to lose a lot of speed, and it starts to get really squirrely at the end of the run. It's because I did run out of gear. I ran out and it just started screaming. So don't be that guy going second gear through the whoops. I promise you, it's not it. But with that also being technique, I can show you 2 different techniques that I do. So up and over, I like to stand, sit down, stand back up, and that is the perfect run through the whoops. That is probably going to be the hardest thing of this video to master. It is very, very, very quick. So I'm standing up, sitting down, standing back up, and then upshifting as well. A lot. It's a lot, but that's my favorite technique, running through the whoops, and it helps out a lot. Now my other technique is literally not doing that at all. It's just you can easily go through the whoops standing up the whole time and stay on top of them. What happens when you do the sit down stand up technique is it actually keeps you lower in the whoops, and it completes that drive, as you can see. All right, next up is kind of like a 90 to 180. I usually like to scream in second to keep that speed up, or you can go in the third. I recommend for 180s, if you're going to carry that speed, like I show you at the top of the berm, you can do third gear, but just expect a little slow speed, but you will gain it gradually, and then you go up to fifth, which is a really good run. Or you can go second gear and then upshift to fourth. It kind of depends, man. It really is like how the map is. Now for 90s, I like to stay second gear because I know I'm going to cut down as close as possible after this jump to the inside to keep that speed, and then I'm going to double upshift to fourth, right? And that's how I usually like to do it. Now you can carry your speed around here after a jump, but it's just slower, right? And then you can see how slow it kind of was to start off, but then I upshifted and it was good. Racing line and how you're going to be racing against pros, the best way into this 90 is cutting down right about here, standing up and then upshifting and then going there, which nothing is wrong. If you need to take the whole berm of the 90, then do it. But process of elimination, if you don't need to take extra track, don't do it. All right, so what I want to talk about now is doing a quad for what it could be just a table on, table off. Now, how you can tell that this is going to be a quad section is because of the 180. He's basically, like the track maker is basically telling you, I'm setting you up for success if you know how to do it. A 180 always solidifies that you can carry your speed around almost any corner and be able to get some really good drive for any big jump. Now, if this could have been a triple section, it would have been the same thing. Carry your speed, triple, all that. Just like that 180 turn right there. He's not going to make it a 90. He's not going to do anything crazy. Those ball turns are for you to set yourself up to get triples in, etc. So with this being said, I kind of want to go over the technique of what I have and that you can see to be able to hit this quad right here, because a lot of people have a problem as well. And the hardest thing is that you're actually coming out of a whoop section, but remember earlier when I said set yourself up for success, knowing what's coming next, you're not going to want to run through this whoop section on the inside. You're going to want to run this whoop section closer to the right side, because what happens? It automatically sets you up to get to the full outside and rail it. Running on this inside, you basically have to go here, and then you got to try to go wrap around, which ain't going to be able to carry your speed. So you might as well just cut down and go on top of the table. So that being said, you exit the whoops right here, and I'll show you a full run as well, so you know what I'm talking about. That it's just muscle memory. But from right here, I can sit here, corner speed, stand up, and then sit down at the end of it. Now, I didn't really explain that too much. I have explained it before in a video. When you sit down, compress your suspension, and then stand up in midair, if you need that extra height, like I'm talking about a sliver of extra height, I'll show you it right now. This is absolutely insane. And boom, I'm in the air, and I sat down about right there. Sit down at the highest peak of your jump. That is also a seat bounce, or whatever you want to call it, to bring the bike even higher to you, right? So I've already got the height. Now I just gave myself more height to actually completely grease it, right? So let's go back right about here. You'll see myself sit down, and it's just leveling it out. So let me see if I can just do this in a smaller aspect. Speed, I stood up right off the face of the jump, and then I sat down, which allows me to bring the bike to me, and I completely greased it. Now, I'll show you a good run through it with me just literally running like from back here to where like I'm setting myself up, right? So I'm coming over this. I'm already setting myself up to come to the outside of these whoops. Right now, I already know that I'm going to hit this 180 all the way to the outside. Corner speed, stand up, sit down in midair, and I just greased it, right? Setting yourself up is probably the biggest thing. And then I'll run this too. Why not? Stand up on top of it. Pop it. See how I barely made it and I stretched it? See how I like barely made it? That was like the perfect example of sitting down on the face of the on top of the table and then standing up, which allowed me to get the pop. See how my back wheel literally landed about right there? I sat down, which allowed me to actually just be able to drive. If I would have stood, it would have been completely bad. I would have not got that next table. But I sat down because I already knew, well, if I'm going to be able to survive this, I need to sit down and then stand up off of it so I can get the pop. That's exactly what I did. So you can see right here. Then I stood back up right there, which uncompressed the suspension and allowed me to get the pop, or at least a little bit of saving grace. And I was actually able to make that again. And then I did the exact same thing. As soon as I got onto this table, I sat down. Again, it's super close, but you can see myself sit down right there in midair. See if I can show it again. I stood up, sat back down, and then I stood up again right before, and it allows me to get that pop. I promise you, sitting and standing is the biggest thing in this game. So hopefully a lot of this helped you, man. Now, probably the most challenging thing on this track is this dragon's back into a wheelie, right? You have to wheelie, and then you have to be able to sit the bike down to get a triple, right? It's probably possible without having to do the wheelie, but if you want to be perfection, I will show you how to do that. Now, if you guys don't know this, just give it gas and stand up and lean the bike forward, or lean with your right analog stick. The bike will just pop up. The bike will pop up. I don't know if you guys see it. I'm standing up, and all I'm doing is just giving it a lot more throttle than I need to. Like a little lean back and then pull and then push up, and the bike will pop up. That's the exact same thing of what you need to do here. Now, to bring the bike back down is a quick sit down within that time. So, let's wrap around. We're gonna go here, boom, 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 and then we're gonna go pull up, sit down, and then stand back up, which allows us to get that pop. Right? It's a lot, right? It's a lot. That's why I say, like, it's crazy to be able to play this game at 2,500 hours and know these little insights, because I bet a lot of you guys didn't know that, but I barely knew that. But then I started doing it. I was like, oh, okay, so you can wheelie on command, and that's what's going to be able to save you coming into this, right? So up, pull up, and then sit down, and then stand up. That little wheelie allows you to get over that little hump, right? Simple things, man, I promise you. But that's enough tips and tricks for me. I feel like this video definitely went a little bit long, but I hope I definitely explained it as much as I can. Knowing that you need to literally round your corners. Throttle control is just going to come over time. That's literally all it is. Just here, half throttle, and then pull out your throttle and all that. Easy money. Hopefully I helped out the best. If there's stuff I missed and you want me to cover, I can always answer your questions on stream. I stream almost every day. And if not, I can always make another video. But Supercross triples are pretty self-explanatory. Getting your pop on, pop off. You know, at that point, you just got to learn the track. That's all it is. So, thank you guys for clicking on this video. It's your boy, Ibskelso, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.